to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Total Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal.
Protonic Reversal with your host, Conan Neutron. Broadcasting from a secret underground lair in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
A gigantic middle finger to everything that is rotten about music, rock and roll, and corporate power.
The thing is, though, if you don't laugh, you're going to go on a killing spree with sharpened nails.
Confidence of a hero or a fool. I wasn't exactly certain which.
Could not be more professional.
It's only one I choose to devote my life to. That's okay.
It means something. It means something.
Can't take that away.
You know, that's my take on it. What's yours?
Protonic Reversal.
That's like a science thing, right?
Indeed it is. It is a science thing. It is a science place. It is a scientific fact. They were all up in your face. It is time once again for the one, the only Protonic Reversal. Welcome to it. And additionally, welcome to it. On tonight's special episode, we have episode 305. The guys of Chat Pile are going to be on. So we're going to get, I'm going to say at least 75%, if not 100% of them. And I'm very excited to talk to these fellas. They have a ripping new record called God's Country. And we're going to talk all about that, do a song by song. We're going to talk about the other EPs and just all the amazing things happening in Chat Pile Landia, a.k.a. the reason why people are aware that Oklahoma is a thing that good stuff can happen from currently. Them and Train Dodge. So before we get going with that, though, welcome to Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. I am your host, Conan Neutron. I am a rock and roll lifer who has toured and recorded for over 22 years, most known for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Music is a huge part of my life, and I use the format of this long-running podcast to talk about music with musicians whose work I enjoy and respect. Folks that may or may not be household names, but do something very special. This is episode 305. Wow. If this is your first time listening to the show, all of the archives are at protonicreversal.com and are always free. No ads, no sponsors, no kidding. If you'd like to support the show and get episodes sooner, you can give $1 a month to patreon.com/protonicreversal. And if you like the show or even just a single episode, please feel free to share it along, like, subscribe, or post a review. All that helps people find the show, and it's just a darn nice thing to do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring these fellas on. These easy young up-and-comers here. What's happening, fellas?
How's it going?
What's up?
Captain Ron, Luther Manhole, Stin, 75% of Chat Pile. So
that's right.
Yeah,
probably 100%, maybe.
Yeah, Ray will show up.
If it's an extended intro, you're doing fine. Time to primp in the back.
We're kind of treating it like it's practice right now. You know, he'll show up eventually.
Yeah, you guys can just grind it out, and
yeah.
It's what it is. So first of all, congratulations on the new record. When did you actually record God's Country? Was it's had been? I know you did 2 EPs before that, if I remember correctly. If I'm tracking this correctly, but when did you record it?
We started recording it in, I believe, March of 2021, and
somewhere at the beginning of last year.
Yeah, and March through
August.
August, yeah.
And so the Flunzer's kind of been sitting on it had been sitting on it for about a year because of production delays with vinyl and all that stuff. But so it's kind of been in our heads for a long time anyway.
Well, yeah, and that's why I asked, is because in the era that we're in right now, I think what ends up happening is people end up recording a record, and then by the time it actually comes out, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. You know?
Yeah.
If songs existed previously beforehand and you played out on them, it's like, oh yeah, it's still not out, huh? Crazy. It's like a time travel kind of situation, I feel like. So I mean, did you guys have songs in the set that were on the record before and kind of play them out live first, or is it all more in the studio?
Yeah, all the songs for God's Country we kind of like wrote in that time period, so they weren't there prior to that chunk of time that we were recording it. But after we recorded it, we started playing all the songs out live. So people more or less, if they were paying close enough attention, probably heard a majority of the album. There's actually a couple songs we still to this day have never played live from the album.
Yeah.
But I would say like 75% of it. Yeah.
Well, and we'll get a little more into that too. Also, I just realized I should probably first of all address people by name or nom de rock. This is the problem with not doing it one-on-one, right? But then also for the viewing audience, for the listeners, we can just go around and everyone can introduce themselves and what they do in the band.
Yeah, I'm Luther Manhole. I play guitar in Chat Pile. This is what I sound like.
I'm Stin. I play bass.
Captain Ron, and I play drums.
Yeah, there you go. And our erstwhile singer, again, extended
Raygun Busch. Yes.
Yeah, Raygun Busch. Vocals.
May or may not be joining us. We'll see.
But yeah, no, it has been, just to your last point, it's been interesting having that album finished for a long time, and then just like wanting people to hear it and stuff, and kind of like when the only people that have heard it is the people in the band and the label and like our girlfriends or wives. It's, you don't know, like, even if I'm like, I think it's good, like just having really no external feedback at all, kind of just like, I went through various stages of liking and not liking things over the course of an entire year, but it's been awesome, the response since it's come out.
It seems like people are responding very well to it. I mean, like,
and it's been crazy.
That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
Some people out there might like it. Obviously you're doing it for yourselves a certain degree, but it's the response has been very nice, and I think that's lovely to see, because folks that are unaware, I mean, you guys are a working band. Like you are going out and doing it. You're playing shows, you're touring. Mm-hmm. Like it's a weird time to not be an already known commodity, is what it seems like to me. Like, and so the idea that anything could break through at all, I mean, it's a minor miracle anybody pays any attention to anything, frankly.
It's crazy.
That's the way we see it too, for sure. And like, yeah, I mean, it's weird how like in the current like culture, it seems like people really seem to be hung up on like kind of legacy bands that have been around forever, and new stuff kind of just simmers kind of in the underground without ever breaking through, like 99.99% of the time, right? It's like people are still holding on to it. It's kind of like, it feels like things used to go out of fashion, and now things don't. Things are just sort of eternally popular. If they ever had any mainstream notability, in the last 30 years. I mean, Elvis is popular again.
Right. If it got in before the buzzer, then it's all at an equal level.
Yeah.
Like it's good for you if you're a legacy act, but if you're not, go pound sand is what it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think we made something good, but also there's definitely a bit of luck that, I mean, because none of us were in other bands that really anyone knew or anything, or, just don't have like, my parents don't have blue names on Wikipedia or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
that's good.
I don't know. It's so it's weird. I was not expecting, there was some hype, but I was just not expecting, so many people to respond to it. It's just awesome. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of awesome and crazy, here's your front man. Hey,
what's up?
How's it going, guys?
We're going to get a Hollywood Squares thing going on.
I got to weigh in. I don't think that everything is in fashion forever. For instance, like swing music.
It's fully dead.
Hopefully.
Do you not think that there's like a group of like Zoomers out there though who love the Cherry Poppin' Daddies?
On TikTok, like spinning canes and stuff.
I mean, it came back in the 90s. We're ready for it again now. Yeah. So, but that's a bad example then maybe. But.
Well, do you guys remember the John Favreau movie, it's Swingers?
Yeah.
Swingers and May.
Yeah. So in Swingers,
Sure.
there's a key moment that has I think it's a Cherry Poppin' Daddies, if I remember correctly.
Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Squirrel Nut Zippers.
No,
I always
no,
get confused.
it's Big Dad Voodoo Daddy, and I know this
Oh,
because
fuck, yeah, it
I
is.
watched it
God
very
damn
recently, yeah.
Two men were wrong.
Yeah.
I think we got it wrong twice.
Yeah, that's Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Oh,
What a
goodness.
And I had forgotten about that because I hadn't seen that film in forever, and I was expecting like, oh man, I bet this didn't stand the test of time. But I was like, oh no, actually, pretty good. But I was like, oh my god, swing music. That's right. This is from that era where like there was like 5 minutes that was like real popular, and like those bands had like a career, and they could run around like playing shows like all around the U.S. and people would.
What's the chicken and egg situation on that? Did swingers make swing music popular, or is it vice versa?
What year did it come out? I don't remember.
94?
96, I think.
What about
That's too
Swing
late,
Kids? You remember that movie?
Oh yeah.
I think Swing Kids planted the seed, or Swing Kids lit the fuse that Swingers was the bomb.
I mean, Weird Al even did what? Grapefruit Diet. That was his contribution to the.
Oh God,
that's See Riot.
That's maybe my vote.
Two
for
combinations.
The worst thing that ever happened in music during my lifetime
is the swing revival.
It's
Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
It's baffling too. It's absolutely baffling. That's the thing that like to me, I feel like okay, so garage rock comes around like every like 5-10 years, right? Or every 5-10 minutes, as we've now shortened the epochs of time. But like there's some things where it's like, why is that the thing? And that was the most why is that the thing for me in like my entire lifetime. I'm like, no, really, what's the thing that's popular? It's not really that, right?
I've often wondered that with garage rock too, because it is a thing, and it's like especially people of like a certain age. Like I feel like it's people who are 10 years older than me have like this. Like if you're a WFMU DJ, then you own like every Pebbles, comp or whatever, and that stuff kind of. I mean, there's some of it I can pick and choose that I like, but it's weird if that's like your thing to me. I don't know.
I had Lenny Kaye on this show.
There you go.
I'll have you know, and I will say this: that dude is he's very knowledgeable about rock and roll. But I do agree. I feel like that one just keeps coming back. Like if there is a swing revival, that's the only it'll have to be in an election year because it's got to be the only thing.
All I can say is the fourth wave of ska is coming. It's gonna happen. Fifth wave?
Yeah,
is there a sixth wave of ska?
Well, okay, so two-tone is I can't believe I'm doing this. Two-tone is 80s. The second wave.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's third wave ska, which is like the
Real Big Fish. And,
and like all the I was gonna say the Asian Men records, like Skank and Pickle and all that. Which did you all know that Ian Miller from Kowloon Malt City used to play in Skank and Pickle?
Whoa,
no.
That's a weird connection.
That's a fact. It's indeed a fact, and it is fun as far as
I feel like we have a lot of like ska tolerance in our band. I know at least like Ray and I can get down with. I mean, it hit for me. Too. Yeah, it hit for me pretty hard in like because I'm 32, so in the early aughts and late 90s when ska was just like exploding, it definitely.
Well, we were talking recently that we both agree that Boss Tones are the ones that age the best of all the mainstream.
I think they do.
Yeah. Which they were technically ska punk, of course.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. But I like them better than Less and Jake.
I take the point.
I was never in band in high school, so ska missed me completely.
Yeah, we got into ska.
Yeah.
I think there's I mean, do you guys feel that there should be like an age cutoff for that? I feel like there should be an age cutoff. Like if you're if you're a teenager, it's like whatever. Like maybe they just haven't had the right records yet. But if you're like 55, should you
playing third wave ska?
You're like, this just doesn't speak to me anymore for some reason.
They're just having a good time out there, I
feel like
but my back is killing me.
I feel like the impression that I get is the Walking on Sunshine of the 90s, though.
Oh, for sure.
That'll be good at any age. When I'm 90 years old, that record on.
Yeah, I mean, a good song is a good song. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Coming up next week, all of those bands.
Yeah.
Well, but so Captain Ron, how do you feel about the whole ska thing? You're awfully quiet.
Not a ska guy. I'm more into dub and stuff. If we're going,
Well, yeah. We've talked about trying to like somehow force some like dub stuff in somehow into a chat pile context, but I don't know. We haven't really earnestly worked on that. It's kind of just been like, I don't know. Other bands have done it too. It's not too far out. But,
Sublime's about as ska as I go. So.
Oh yeah, Sublime. They're awesome.
I do like Sublime, so I'll be on record and on camera saying that I like the band Sublime.
Bold move.
Me too.
Bold move, Pat.
Oh, it's just the camera. People will see this.
Yeah,
they're seeing it now.
Oh shit.
Welcome to the party, pal. Yeah,
yeah, we're on, baby.
Hey.
Although, arguably, is anyone really going to see it? It's the internet.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this. Doesn't this look like the Caterwall artwork?
Oh yeah, is that an actual keyboard? Oh, it's
we got this for Liz's nephew. This looks
That's
exactly
amazing.
like
Let's
the artworut from the festival we played.
Hey, wait. Keep that. This is gonna be real annoying for the audio listeners, but yeah, let's put that on solo.
Oh, amazing!
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
great. It's great.
Keyboard cat, yeah, man, totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. That was a gift, like a child gift or something.
We got it if we haven't given him to him yet. It's just I drove home from Houston today, so
that's sick, man.
I'm sitting amongst a bunch of stuff from the car. Yeah.
Well, I think that I would be stoked if I got that. I'd be stoked if I got that as an adult. I'd be like, hell yeah! Does it take pedals?
Yeah, what's the MIDI output capability?
You gotta get out the soldering iron.
Yeah, plug it right into our Scarlett, the Focusrite, and just track some stuff with it.
I mean, I've literally done crazier things. So anyway, so first of all, I want to get having nothing to do with swingers, or was it Big Dad Voodoo Daddy? No, fuck, I already forgot who it was.
Yeah,
that's how much I cared about that information. Is like, no, at all. I want to kind of go through the new record and go through song by song. But first, let's talk about it. So you guys, I feel like you have an artistic ethos. You got your logo, which is very much from the you have to squint to like read what it says school of logo design. Mm-hmm. And did that develop early on, or is that something that like did you conceive it with the band?
I would say well, okay, so a little history is that myself and Luther are kind of the metal guys in the band. Ray and Ron don't really listen to like a ton of metal whatsoever. But conceptually, with just kind of the aesthetics of what we were doing, very early from the beginning, we kept talking about how we wanted a blob logo of some kind. And we kept trying to find people who could design it for us, but no takers. And so Luther ended up, you went through some weird website where
Fiverr, which is like where you can hire people. Yeah. We used Fiverr.
So we made it for us. Some anonymous person $25 to whip out a logo.
To design a logo. That's amazing. So when Fiverr first started, it was literally like, I will dance in a seal costume for 30 seconds, like stuff like, what is that for? Like, it's like no.
Yeah, now it's like a gig economy kind of thing. Like people will do art or music or whatever. But yeah, this guy he's like metal band logos, and I saw that he had some.
Wasn't that version 2 though?
This was version 2. The first one was like almost like more old English looking.
It was like sarsaparilla font. It was
I don't. Yeah, it was fucked up.
Awful.
It was fucked up.
I was almost like, maybe we shouldn't be a band if this is what it's gonna be like.
But no, I just like sent him a few other more like this, like a few death metal bands.
But he still didn't even get close because the thing we wanted something that looked kind of like a Spectral Voice logo or like Trivium Val or however you say that band. So they like really drippy, disgusting, like insane, unreadable logo.
You can still kind of read this if you know what it says.
Yeah. It's it's somewhat legible. Yeah.
It kind of looks like a spider, you know?
Yeah.
I like though. Ultimately, I liked that it was sort of circular because you don't see that a whole lot.
Right.
Well, it's so there's a theory that says that if it's for a logo to be really good, like a child should be able to draw it. You know, like,
yeah, well,
which like some of these like, you know, city like flags or whatever, they have all this like junk going on. It's like, no, you don't want like a bunch of stuff that's like hard to like get. You want something immediately recognizable.
It needs to be stamped into your brain without thinking about it too much, you know?
Exactly. Where you just see it and you're like, and like there's some non verbal part of your brain can just immediately associate that with the thing that it is.
But going back though, like a logo was important to us. Like we knew aesthetically, like even though we weren't going to be like a death metal band or black metal band, like in its purest sense, we still wanted that type of juxtaposition, you know, like from the get-go, we wanted to have album art and that sort of thing that didn't traditionally look like a metal album, but incorporated those types of traditional elements into the design. So that was kind of always top of mind before we even got too far in the process.
Well, and that's interesting because I feel like when I first saw it, I expected it to be different than it was. Like I expected it to sound like black metal, you know, like straight up. And then I was like, oh, interesting. Like, and to me, that was like, that's good because I like things that are surprising. I think for a lot of folks, it's sort of like, oh, all right, what are these dudes up to? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's definitely what we were going for, and you know, a lot of people appreciate it, and a lot of people are infuriated by it.
At this point, it's we've had it long enough where it's like, you know,
we're just
gonna use it. Yeah.
Hey, at least you didn't pick a song band name. I'm sticking with that. And
it's kind of like Kiss or you know, the Grateful Dead or something, you know, to where
that's right.
You see it and you're like, oh, this is gonna be fucking melt my face, and then you know you hear it and it's like, wait, what?
Zach Lockwood from the comments. I was expecting some kind of black and hardcore stuff when I saw the cover of Remove Your Skin, Please, and what I heard was way better.
Oh, thank you, Zach.
Like some.
Zach is a cool dude. He's in You're in Hell, Chicago. He
Nice.
watched the movie Humanity and talked to me about it. Meanwhile, the bass player in my own band won't watch it.
Did not do any of those things. Huh?
I have spoken at length with Zach Lockwood about Humanity. So, anyway.
Well, there you go. So then, and just, you know, I think that what is the band name mean is like dumb, like radio DJ questions, but actually I think it's interesting in you guys' case. How do you, I mean, other than the fact that it's like, that's not a term that you know, unless you know, like, how did you guys decide? Like, yeah, that's good. That's going to be what we're going to call the band.
We had like a list of names that I think all of us were kind of contributing to. And then I know Stin's the one he suggested Chat Pile. And it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was like a placeholder at first because we all liked it. But I think we're all just like, you know, it's that one's cool. Like it kind of fits. But then over time, it just definitely, I don't know, with the meaning of it, you know.
It becomes whatever the band is. You know,
yeah. Some people are still, that is also a thing where people are like, what the fuck does that mean? Or that's a dumbass name. It sounds, you know, and then someone will be like, actually, it means this. And then, and, you know, and
actually,
God bless those people. They're doing the Lord's work for us, you know. Yeah. The other thing with the name too is like we wanted deliberately to have like a local element into the band, you know, because like
it is very local to where y'all are from, right? So that's very cool. Like to me, because I think
kind of a testament to how I guess, you know, low our expectations were of like the reach of our band. We're like, yeah, we're just gonna make music for people in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I mean that definitely was kind of, you know, yeah. I don't have any more to add.
There's a very short list of bands from there, and again, it's even shorter list if you're not down with like, you know, indie underground music. So it is something where even there being a good band from Oklahoma is sort of like, oh, awesome, there's a good band from Oklahoma again. Cool, right on. I mean,
there's been a ton of good stuff from here. It's just we've kind of talked about it before. A lot of stuff like
it doesn't get out.
Starts and then, you know, a band's around for a year that rocks and like makes super cool stuff and then just fizzles out or something. Like there's been a ton of cool bands for, you know, at least in the 20 years I've been going to shows in Oklahoma City. You know, like a lot of good stuff. It's just some stuff breaks through, but it is we're not traditionally a music city.
Yeah, and that's and I wasn't trying to come off like an elitist or anything.
Oh no, yeah.
That is the key to it. That like stuff has to stick around to break through, and then also, there are a lot of bands. They can be the best band in the world, but if it doesn't connect with folks, it doesn't connect with folks, and that maybe just happenstance or luck. There's nothing to it. But sometimes stuff comes together, and people do connect with it, and it has been really cool seeing people connect with your band.
Yeah,
and
we hope that maybe by like extension, people will pay a little more attention to Oklahoma City. I mean, like, good Lord, like Train Dodge deserves.
They're so sick.
They're so sick, dude, and they're the nicest guys, and they've been at it forever. Like, they deserve for people to listen to them.
Yeah, everyone listen to Train Dodge if you are listening to this. They are good. They have lots of records. They are everywhere that you can listen to records. They're look them up,
and they're all pretty good.
New one coming out too, right?
Yeah,
they just recorded a new one.
They just recorded a new one.
So,
and I feel like they're a band that's like a secret code. Like if you talk to someone, they're like, "Oh shit, Train Dodge, that's awesome!" Like then, like that you've got like a cultural shorthand.
Yeah, they're probably from the Midwest, and they're probably in the noise rock.
Well, sure, if you're gonna break it down like that. But from the perspective of being in Oklahoma and being from Oklahoma, do you feel like it's a good place to create, to be a band, to is there a scene that's supportive of bands, supportive of each other, things along those lines?
Nuts.
It's mixed. There are lots of bands here, and there are like
I was worried this would happen.
Oh, at the pixelation. Or I don't know. It's it
goes through waves. Here's the thing, like the scene here it's always flourishing. There's always activity going on. But it always seems like there are like these people who kind of hold the reins every 5 years of it. And there's kind of this kind of gatekeeping mentality of it. And there's sort of a kind of flavor of the time which I know is probably true of any cultural movement or like music scene in any city. But in Oklahoma, when there aren't that many of us, it's very detrimental, in my opinion, to people to shut out certain genres or certain, I don't know. It's not always the most inclusive from an like artistic standpoint. But the positive side is that there is always something going on. There's always some DIY culture thriving in some degree. And kind of like in our example, you're sort of like, there's no pressure to create. I don't know. There's no expectations, right? So you can do whatever you want. You can kind of create stuff in like complete anonymity, and you're kind of free to do your own thing. No one will listen to it, but you're free to do it.
You are free to do whatever you want that no one will listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always, like I said, for the years I've been going to shows here, there's always been an active scene and stuff, and it's less like the big touring bands. Like a lot of them will skip us or play Tulsa and then Dallas and then kind of skip OKC. And so we end up having to, I can't tell you how many times I've driven to Dallas to go see a show that I wish just would have made a stop here. But a lot of the underground bands, though, when they would tour, it's a pretty easy stop. So,
I-35 like and I-40 connect. So you get all that.
Yeah. It's not inconvenient at all. Like it's actually pretty, depending on where
you're going down to Texas, it's pretty much just on the way. So
yeah.
So we'd get some of those type of bands coming through. Like, I remember Mono played here in like 2003 or 4, and that was like ridiculous that for some reason they played here.
One of the most legendary shows in Oklahoma City, like, the handful of people who went were, it grows in terms of people who claim that they were there every year.
Yeah.
It turns out there must have been 1,000 people at this show. Yeah. The entire town was there.
I was actually there, though.
I was actually there, too, as a 14-year-old.
Well, and that can be, and as you guys know, like, as a band, too, when you play a place that doesn't get every band in the world, people, can have a tendency to really appreciate it. Like it means.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
If you're a metalcore band and you're coming to Oklahoma City, you're gonna get a lot of love. I will say, there's a huge like scene for like metalcore people here. Like, and those type of bands, they do come and they they sell out places and people.
They do. I saw Acacia Strain like a month ago at 89th Street, and it was the most packed I have ever seen that video. Not the narc on them, but it may have been oversold or something. It was crazy how many people
were get stitches, man. Come on.
Great show, by the way. That was really fun.
That's it. This episode is now going to be at shows that you went to. So
yeah, absolutely.
Really settle on our key demographics.
That was a highlight for sure.
So when you guys are out and playing, what's the mindset behind like, you know, playing well-trodden territory, places that you know that you're going to do well, and trying to like forge a path into new lands? Like what's the ratio? Do you have like a balance that you try to keep to that?
So far, I think the only cities that we've played twice are our own city and then stuff in Texas. Like, we haven't done too, you know, basically as we do more out-of-state shows, we've been trying to do different stuff, I feel like, kind of every time, at least so far, but we haven't done, you know, a ton yet. Like we did the little Midwest thing where we stopped at Caterwall in May, but then before that, you know, we mainly Texas, and we went out to Little Rock and Memphis once. And
yeah, you might be attributing too much theory to like our live schedule. It's more like, where can we get to within a day's drive?
You know, well, you know,
that's kind of why we haven't played out west or east.
Time off work can we afford? You know?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like that guy that used to review movies based on the proximity to his home. If he's not close to his home, it got a good review. But if he had to go across town, he would pan it.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I mean, it's pretty close to that, sort of. Yeah. I mean, now opportunities are.
Is it really?
A little bit. I mean, it's just kind of like we've operated, like, we're completely, you know, DIY in every form and fashion, and we're like trying to squeeze this band into the existence of like our current lives that you know, are busy on their own. So it's sort of like, it's just whatever we can do in 4 days. That's just kind of where we end up, you know.
Sure.
Those opportunities are opening up a little bit more for us right now, but even still, it's just kind of like the logistics of trying to balance, you know, chat pile life and not chat pile life are kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, and that's, you know, when you have adult obligations, you know, like that's a thing that's the way it is.
Yeah,
there's no two ways about it. But I think you guys are doing a good job of, you know, balancing, like, you know, the getting out there with everything else, because I mean, you're in a good situation now that the record's out, you know, people are digging it. They want to hear it. They want to hear you guys play. That's, you know, that's supposed to be what it's like for every band, and we all know that's not not always the case.
Yeah.
So getting back over to the record, I feel like there's kind of a artistic aesthetic to it too, where it almost like I think of like are you guys familiar with like the Black Sparrow books that like Bukowski and stuff did?
Yeah,
the type of binding and like it has a certain look to it. Like, you know what a Black Sparrow book is when you look at it. Here's where I'm going with that. I feel like like your records have like a aesthetic that has like a certain feel. Like, you know, like obviously the what you choose to feature on the cover, as much as like, you know, the use of negative space, et cetera, is that a calculated thing, or is it just that's how it's worked out so far?
I'd say it's pretty calculated. Like imagery and all that stuff is very important to me. Like I'm the one who does the layout and I take the photos and stuff for it. So I really try to make that part of the package, you know. It kind of goes back to like my metal fandom. I think a lot of like what makes extreme metal good is the sort of aesthetics that surround certain albums or certain bands or whatever. And I really wanted to bring that to the table as well. But I'm also a fan of like like Sonic Youth is like a big,
Sure.
thing for me. And I feel like they're very aesthetic, deliberately conscious of like the aesthetics that they put forth on every single album or like era of the band, So I wanted to bring some of that to the table. And then kind of going back to like our obsession with like locality and stuff, like we really wanted to mix in like all those photos and stuff that you see like in the album covers, on the EPs, all that stuff. That's all within a mile radius of like where we practice and live and all that stuff. It is our neighborhood that you're seeing, and we kind of wanted to present that to people. So
well, and and I'm glad you said that, because it's interesting, because I think that there's a push towards universalism now and a push towards, you don't want to be too identified with any one thing. And if you look at like America on the whole, right? I mean, talk about like the mini mallification of this country, where it's I happen to come at the tail end of touring where stuff still looked unique and it wasn't the same 3 chain stores in like every place you stop. But I think that like it's been interesting to see as bands are kind of forced into being social media influencers just to get people interested in what they're doing, that there almost is a push away from the uniqueness of locale and location and where people come from. But that's not what you guys do at all. I think you guys like really lean into it. I really appreciate that. And it's, to me, it's more reminiscent of like almost like the Homestead Records aesthetic.
Oh, it's funny you say that. Because Raygun and I are actually avid Homestead collectors.
Homesteaders, we call it?
Yes. And in fact, there's one album, or one, as far as like album art goes, there's one album in particular that's like been, for me, like hugely influential in terms of like design stuff, and it's Sleep Asylum by Uzi, which is Thales Zadik's one-off EP from A6, I believe. They're a Boston band. So this is like before she went on to do Live Skull or whatever. But
this is a deep cut for me, man. That's crazy.
It must have come through, because I found it at the record store, and then there's like, you found one, and I feel like anybody that wants one can have one here.
I still see them sometimes.
Yeah,
like I come across them. It's weird. So yeah, they must have maybe played here or something. I don't know. But the layout is beautiful. It has like this kind of like thin Helvetica like type at the top, and then there's like, I mean, if you look at it, it's very much similar to like the chat pile layout in terms of like how it looks and stuff. I'm kind of ripping off at least the sort of like spatial elements of it, So yeah, I mean, I would say like Homestead Records in particular, like that whole aesthetic definitely drives the look of kind of our album art and stuff.
Yeah, I personally love a good uniform look for volumes of anything, Yeah. Like, I'm a big Blu-ray collector, and I appreciate Criterion, Kino Lorber, Arrow. There's a couple that keep a uniform design versus wild companies like Scorpion that have no rules about how they do their spines and stuff. And we're not.
Hey,
like
my kid's learning graphic design. Throw it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as like the hyper locality goes, it's kind of what Stin was saying earlier, that when we first started the band, we didn't really we didn't have any expectations of doing much outside of Oklahoma. We just kind of wanted to jam for fun, and I don't know, we wanted to make it kind of hyper local, just because that we're kind of I don't know, we're all adults and chose to stay living here. It's something we think about being in Oklahoma City a lot, I would say.
Sure.
And
yeah, sometimes probably more than others, I bet.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. It just felt like the right decision to just kind of lean into where we're from.
I also think hype had a big influence on, at least most of us growing up.
The documentary.
Yeah, the documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like Sub Pop and stuff, and how kind of, uniform and stuff, all their stuff looked at that time.
Dude, 100%. I would drill down further and say that like the Poneman Pavitt, like, okay, their whole thing was that they tricked the UK music press into believing that there were these hillbillies living in the middle of nowhere making this crazy noise rock. Well, that sounds absolutely parallel to sort of the narrative that's been created around Shaft style to an extent. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like Tad, Thomas Anderson Doyle, who's like not that guy at Chainsaw.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, oh yeah, there he is. It's like he's not that guy.
Yeah, he has like doesn't he have like a PhD or something?
Yeah, he's incredibly well spoken. He's a brilliant guy. Thomas Andrew Doyle, by the way.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, like all that stuff. I mean, I guess we're revealing just how conscious we are of like the narrative and the aesthetics and all that stuff. You know, you were talking about how like bands have to be influencers and stuff. It's like we're aware of that too. But I think our angle is coming at it with like trying to be unique as opposed to following like a certain like stamped out template. Hey, this is what a metal band looks like. Hey, this is what noise rock. You know what I mean? Like if we sort of like take these sort of confusing elements, it might help us stand out a little bit. Which
yeah, I think mission accomplished.
Yeah,
doing good so far.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that's also you're following your own compass too, right? Like,
yeah.
And the thing is, the weird part about being in a band now is that the blending of the artistic and the personal seems to be like you have to now. Like it's almost. You can choose how you do that, but not doing it doesn't seem to be an option unless you want to write a manifesto in the woods.
Yeah.
Which I'm not against manifestos or the woods. But I'm just saying.
I just see it as like part of like the art, right? Like not to sound too pretentious, but to me, like that package that you put out there for everybody to see and the sort of story that you tell, whether it be through interviews like this or just your social media and stuff, it's like you can make that kind of, I don't know, it's like you can have the same amount of fun doing that kind of shit if you put your mind to it as you would have putting your linear notes together in the 80s or whatever. It's the same stuff, you know. It's just that the times have changed and you kind of have to evolve with the media or medium that exists to do that kind of stuff, you know.
Did you say linear notes?
Linear notes. Is that not how you say
linear
it?
Notes.
Liner notes?
Liner notes? I've always said linear notes my whole life.
I mean, they could be linear. They're not mutually exclusive.
We're part of the liner, though. So, but
yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of ways thinking,
but
I'm not going to.
This is all to say that it's like even with like, you know, we wanted to put out a cohesive thing, but it wasn't like, you know, we were doing even, you know, as far back as the EPs, we weren't doing it with the intention of like, and now we're gonna have a ton of people talk about us or something like that. It's just we all wanted to put out, like Stin said, a full like kind of package of something with cool art and good music and just present it out. It wasn't really like calculated in a way of like, and this is to get a ton of fans or something, you know, like that wasn't really the goal. But yeah.
Well, I think that so we should probably. I want to dive into the actual record and talk a little bit about that. But since we're talking about linear notes, including
the English language is elastic, and anyone who acts like it's not as such doesn't know their history.
They're
so true, dude.
Now, motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. Was there? So. You guys include lyrics with the music. Has there ever been any sort of contention of like whether that's the thing to do? Some artists rather leave it open to interpretation. Some artists don't like writing them down. Whatever. I guess that's Raygun. That'd be more directed towards you. But I mean,
at this age, I'm confident enough to put them in there. You know what I mean? And if somebody wants to say shit to me, so be it. You know. I'm not afraid. I think not including lyrics is because you did a bad job and you don't want people to know how poorly written they are, or it's just a fear thing for other reasons. I don't know. It's all fear-based, I guess. And I am not afraid anymore to put my lyrics. They asked me if I wanted to, and I said yes. That's my answer.
There you go. Fearlessly, you say it.
I mean, we're also a band where you can pretty much tell
most of the time you can tell,
saying. So, you know, it's not like you know, some crazy black metal shriek that you can't understand. And that, you know,
well, people are really into the lyrics too. So it's kind of like it's a good move to just make them accessible.
Agreed.
Yeah.
If people want to know, I'm like, I'd like to at some point like tab out my guitar parts or like maybe like
do a playthrough video.
Yeah, do like a playthrough or something. I just don't have like if I did it, it'd be like this quality right here with like this, you know, mic and webcam. So it wouldn't be.
You've seen playthrough videos, right?
Yeah.
If I did it, people would be like, "Damn, that's all he's doing."
It's not impressive at all.
But yeah, no, I'd like for I like in general to be pretty honest about what we do and how we do it, and you know, there is like some like mysteriousness with, since you know we use pseudonyms or stuff like that. But I don't know, it's where we show our face, and you know, I don't know. I like to.
We talk about our process constantly. So
Yeah,
it's not like we're that mysterious. You know?
Yeah. If people want to know something, if they ask me, "Hey, what tuning's this in?" or "What, you know, how do you play this?" like I'd be happy to show them. So.
Yeah, it's always the stuff I love, you know, hearing from bands and shit. You know, is what gear they're using, or you know, how the process goes in terms of writing or creating things. So.
Well, why don't we talk about things that you've created? Let's talk about God's Country. And the format for this, which has become a pretty popular bit. Is it a bit? No. Format for this show is that segment. Sure. Thank you. My assistant producer there. For this show is to kind of go through each song on the record, song by song. And when it's a band, I like having everyone chime in, which is something about the song, whether it's where did the song title come from? You know, what are the lyrics about? Like, you know, how did this song originate? Well, something in the recording process, just some vague disassociated memory that goes with it. Whatever, just everyone gets to chime in with something on it, and we'll cycle around for people to start first. But Captain Ron, since in the video you're next to me, you're going to start with this one. So go ahead and lay it on us with Slaughterhouse.
So I remember Slaughterhouse being like the hardest song to record. I think that took us the longest out of all of them. It's probably our most intricate song that we've written. Not that it's even like that, you know, interesting, I guess, of a song, but I don't know. There's a lot of parts to it, so definitely took a while.
Yeah, for us specifically, like we don't have the most complicated songs. That one definitely is like has the most going on for a chat pile song, maybe.
It's pretty audacious beginner.
A lot of rhythm changes and stuff. So a lot to try to pay attention to and stay focused.
Stin, want to go next?
So my immediate thought is it was based on a bass line that comes in at the beginning, which like it's a very guitar forward song, but the bass line is kind of where it started, I think. And the working title was Turnstile because we thought that it kind of sounded like a turnstile riff. And to second that, it's still the hardest one to play, I think, deceptively so.
Luther?
All right. I will say a slight correction to Stin's thing. There was one riff in there that we were calling like the turnstile riff, but that's when started. We were calling that song Caius, actually, which it sounds nothing like Caius, but it had this like like very, you know,
in the field.
I
get it.
Queens.
Like you're totally right.
It started as that, and then it somehow that riff got completely cut from the song
because it was
yeah, exactly. That is what it was. But yeah, I remember that. I think that was the last one we wrote. Also, like it wasn't the last one we recorded because we recorded Grimace last, but we'd already demoed that one before, so it wasn't like we didn't write Grimace last. But yeah, Slaughterhouse was definitely one that I think we spent probably the most time on, and it just took the most work to like kind of get to where we wanted it to get. But I'm happy with how it turned out, and I really like at least as the opener to the album, you know, it starts with that drum fill, drum break. It's just kind of the same way that we start Remove Your Skin Please with like the drum thing for Beltway. That I don't know, it really made sense as like a natural opener
I told this to someone the other day, but I was like, I really, really wanted a drum opening on the record because of Eggnog by Melvin's, like the opening track, Wispy.
Yep.
It's like one of the fucking greatest opening moments of a record of any, and I'm not saying that we came anywhere near that, but just at least spiritually, I wanted to.
That was the aesthetic, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a grand tradition of it, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Raygun.
Yeah, Slaughterhouse. I like that song. It's fun. It's a fun one to do. There's this one part that if we could fly away now, I think of that as my Tom York moment on the album. I don't know if that means anything to anyone or any whatever, but hey, I'm thinking about Radiohead when I came up with that part on the thing. And also the song is partially inspired by the Sausages sketch, the Kids in the Hall Sausages sketch.
Oh, wow.
One of the most deeply affecting pieces of art I've ever seen in my life. But
right on. Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I did not know.
That song was like it was like an amalgamation of themes. It's like, I would say what you said before, Ray, that it's like, it's the least about a specific thing, that song, maybe on the record. Like you kind of are pulling from lots of different stuff for that one to kind of come up with what it was.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I really like it though.
Yeah, I do too.
So let's start off. Reagan, we'll start with you. With why? Now, first of all, the rumor I know is that that's supposed to be from like the perspective of a child. Is that right?
Are you being serious?
That is a rumor.
No, it's from my perspective. People that are mad about that song are the real children.
Are people like that is, and this is an earnest question. Are people like having hot takes on that? That is.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we're being called. I won't get too into it because I don't want to.
The woke agenda, people. Yeah.
But no. People are. Yeah.
A bunch of losers on the internet are mad about. It's not. It's all
earnestness.
Well, no. Anything that people have to say about us, it's all like fear-based comments. Like I don't know what they're afraid of, but they're mad and they're afraid, and so they're on the internet talking shit about a band, and I don't know. Fuck them.
Yeah. They don't deserve any more airtime than they already have.
Yeah, exactly.
So all right. So hit me with. I mean, I think the lyrics on this are pretty straightforward, right? But like, hit me your thoughts behind it. What?
Oh, I mean, it means what it means. I mean, every day I was going to work, just seeing more and more people living under this bridge, and then every now and then you catch cops like clearing them out. And I mean, just like we built this new shelter in no man's land in OKC on it's around South Penn. It's
South Villa.
Yeah. Oh, Villa. Yeah. And it's tiny as fuck. It's like you should have built one that's about 8 times this size.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
And put it maybe somewhere where people wouldn't be living in. I mean, it's almost like you're in rural Oklahoma, but you're in the middle of the city. It's fucking stupid, So I don't know. I just wrote that song out of anger. I'm 37. It's from my perspective.
Luther?
Yeah, I mean, at least instrumentally with that one, it kind of started from an old riff I had. And then we called it, I think the working title for that one was Knuckle Dragger. It was like our caveman riff style. Like it was kind of like, at least at the time when we were writing it, kind of our heaviest musically, maybe, or just like most kind of pounding or mechanical. And yeah, I mean, I love the instrumental on it. I love the lyrics on it. It's definitely, I expected some people to, maybe be weird about it, but I don't know. I think it's great. And it has some of my favorite guitar stuff, kind of the when it gets to the actual, like before the breakdown, there's like kind of a bridge area. All that stuff is some of my like favorite guitar stuff I've probably ever written. It's
cool,
I really like all that, and yeah, no, I was not expecting people to be so weird, but it's just, I don't know. It is a very like it's a basic it is a basic question, and like it says in the song, we have the means, we have the resources. Like it's very clear that it is something that could be fixed, and people could, unhoused people could be given places to live, or everyone deserves to live somewhere. Like, I don't know. It's just I don't think we needed to get super metaphorical with it. And we've had other songs in the past where maybe people didn't pick up on a political message from it, and like
you can outsmart yourself that way, right? Where
so
too oblique.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a song that's just super straightforward and is about exactly what you think it's about, and because we don't want there to be any confusion at all, like that. It's very clear what the song "Why" is about, and but yeah, that's my thoughts, I guess.
Stin?
Yeah, I've got a few things to think of. Like, first off, kind of jumping off of what Luther was saying, like, with the old songs, there is a lot of political stuff, but it's kind of masked. Not like irony is not the word. Like I don't think we are an ironic band at all. But it's just more like the song "Crawl Space," for instance, right? People listen to that kind of stuff, and there's like a sect of our fan base that are like, yeah, cool, murder, or like these guys are fucking psychos and that rocks. And I think it was important for us to like hit people over the head with like, no, that is not what we are. Like we have something to say. We have compassion. Like these character studies of these bad people and stuff isn't like an endorsement or some type of like nihilistic wallowing or anything. It's like we're there's like we want the world to be a better place. So here is like as naked as it can be. Like here you go. This is like this is our perspective where we're coming from, and then so that's just in terms of the message of the song. But musically, I think it has the best breakdown in all of Chat Pile songs, and the main riff, that's all Luther. He's the one who came up with that one. It's really good, man. It's pretty repetitive and hypnotic, but like we bash it in because it kicks so much ass,
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with playing a good part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it just like the dude with the rug, it can really tie the whole room together.
The other weird fun fact about that song is it's the only song of ours that has a sample in it, and what it is Saturday at noon. The tornado sirens go off. They test them off in Oklahoma. And so the four of us in different locations throughout the city recorded the same exact siren on our phones. And then we synced them all together and then timed it out for the breakdown. So you're hearing like the real Oklahoma tornado siren during the breakdown of that song.
Yeah.
That's a pretty wild sound. So that's kind of cool.
Every Saturday at noon it happens here. I know they do that in other states as well, but maybe like once a month.
Like overcast or raining or something.
Yeah, if there's storm chances, they won't do it. Yeah, but yeah, it's a very integral part of living here. Like knowing if you hear the sirens and you're still in bed, you're just like, oh man, I should probably get up. It's fucking noon.
So get the day going.
Yeah.
From the chat, Stevie, there are more vacant houses than homeless people in the U.S.
Yeah,
which is,
yeah. Look up the amount too, because it's an insane amount. It's not like there's only a few more houses than homeless people. It's like it's ridiculous, the ratio actually.
Stupid, yeah.
Captain Ron, why?
So yeah, kind of along the lines of the message of the song, I feel like I try to, play that one pretty straightforward, just kind of as robotic as possible, in terms of just the rhythm and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Another from the comments. The breakdown of why is devastating when the statement becomes a question. Have you? It pierces you the way any political punk band would have hoped to achieve with very few words.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep,
Very astute, Zach. Thanks for contributing that. So next up we have Pamela. We're going to start with you, Luther.
Oh, yeah, Pamela. my favorite chat pile song, I think, just overall out of all of our stuff. Really love that one. It's one of the oldest ones on the record. The next song is actually the oldest song on the record, like the one that we wrote the longest or farthest back. But we had played it super different way where we were like, Stin and I were kind of matching up a little more. I wasn't playing like the big dreamy chords or anything.
Yeah.
But then, somewhere just started doing that and kind of just improvised some of those chords and worked on a little bit. But I mentioned it before, but kind of an inspiration for me, at least with guitars on that, was actually there's a video game called Hotline Miami. And the soundtrack to that game is like super kind of like washed out and wavy, but also like that game's like hyper violent. It's just like kind of this like psychedelic hellscape, but on the beach and by the water. And I kind of wanted to like lean into the like kind of the icy water weirdness. And then, I don't want to say, I don't know, it is kind of coincidentally, but then the song is kind of a Friday the 13th-esque song, which kind of, and there's the staring at the lake at all. I don't know, there's lots of water going on, I think, with the lyrics and sonically. I think there's kind of just has that kind of vibe to it. But yeah, I don't know, that song for some reason is probably the most like the stuff that I don't know that I like to listen to and stuff.
There's some kind of new wavy aspects to some of the guitars.
Yeah, XTC is one of my favorite bands. Depeche Mode. Cocteau Twins is one that I know Stin will probably mention for this song. But yeah, it's I don't know, I really like how this one came together. Especially the way it builds up, and the end I feel like is just really awesome, and it's really fun to play. Like just from a performance standpoint, it's one that even when we're practicing and we finished, I'm like, damn, I really like that song. That's a fun one to play. So that's yeah, that's about it.
Captain Ron.
Yeah. So this one I tried to channel my inner Neil Peart. I use Tom Sawyer in particular as an influence.
I'm glad you said it, because I was gonna say it. I'm like, don't say it. You're gonna say it.
Yeah, pretty much shut the whole thing. That's kind of what I'm going for. So that's kind of where I'm at on that one.
The Rush vibe a little bit.
It's really fun to play, and yeah, I do love the vibe of it. I mean, it's probably one of my favorite bars that we have. So.
Raygun.
I would say it is also maybe my favorite song that we do. I just think it's atmospheric, and I love the bass line in it and shit. It's just like it slaps. It is the aquatic nature of the sound and everything. It led me to I'm a Friday the 13th fanatic, and I had a goal for this album, because tomorrow is promised to no one. You know what I mean? So I wanted to do a song about why. I wanted to do a song about how much I hate fucking guns, and that's coming. And then I wanted to advance my theory, or a way that you could make a good Friday the 13th prequel. I wanted to advance my theory on how Jason could come back to life. Because, Tom Savini didn't do the effects on part 2 because he couldn't wrap his head around Jason being alive.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm a big Toni Morrison fan, so I just took the way that Beloved is resurrected and I grafted it on to Friday the 13th. And Friday the 13th Part 1 is my favorite one. Pamela Voorhees all the way. And also, I kind of one more thing. I kind of think of this as our Running Scared. Do you know that Roy Orbison song?
Yeah.
It's very even until the very end with me, and so that's kind of what I was trying to do with this song. Anyway,
nice. I feel like I'm gonna mention Ian Miller's name from Kowloon Mall City a second time, because his dad wrote the first Friday the 13th, which I'm like,
I know. We got to talk to that guy.
It's as if he didn't have his own incredible storied musical career.
I did not know that, actually. That is very cool.
Your dad wrote Friday the 13th?
That's fucked up. Yeah, that total ass.
I would have led with that my entire life. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm not as big of a fan as Ray because I know but I mean, I also love Friday the 13th, so I was very happy to have something related to that. I don't know. It's horror movies in general. I feel like kind of play into the aesthetic of our stuff, or like, just movies are obviously they keep getting brought up. It's something that we like to talk about a lot. So I feel like having something that was a little more like cinematically focused made sense to be on a chat pile record because
that song fits nicely too in the sequencing for that.
Yeah, I think I really like the I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but just the sequencing in general for the album, I'm really happy with how we structured everything, and I think it makes sense. And coming in between Y and Wicked Puppet, I think it makes sense there. But yeah.
Stin?
Yeah, I think the guys covered a lot of stuff that I would say, but kind of going back to the Cocteau Twins point, which Luther knew I would talk about.
That's
so what I hear in that song, and I'm like a huge fan, and like to the point where I would say Godflesh is obviously like a influence in terms of the kind of drum sound that we have synthesized into the band, but also like Treasure, Head Over Heels, like Cocteau Twins, like that drum machine sound is so fucking brutal and dark. Like when I'm mixing and stuff, that's definitely what I'm trying to channel that stuff anyway. So hearing it in like having a song to me that actually channels like the whole package of that band. We wear our influences on our sleeves. We have no qualms about name checking bands that we like. So that's kind of something that comes to mind for me on that. And then it's also probably one of the earliest ideas that from the album. Like in fact, I feel like the main bass riff was maybe around even like when we did Remove Your Skin, probably.
Yeah, it was.
It's been around for a while. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Oh, unlike the guys, it's not my favorite, but I do like it a lot.
Well, and it's for me to editorialize a little bit, which I do here. It's something that you guys do well too, where there is that specific kind of dreamy hookiness that comes in, even though it's very heavy at the same time. Yeah. That's something that, not as many bands do that as I'd like. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll get to it, but the Korn influence is majorly a part of that.
Smashing Pumpkins, I think, too.
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins. We'll just sum it up as like 90s alternative rock or whatever.
There you go.
Like what a lot of people don't realize about our band is like we grew up in Oklahoma in the 90s. Like top 40 alt rock radio was like our only lifeline. So it's kind of like in my DNA to just write music like that,
Yeah, we definitely try to like structure our songs kind of, even if we're doing riffs that might be more sludge metal or extreme metal type stuff, like kind of putting it in that kind of alt rock structure, I think is something that we definitely, has been on every release of ours so far, because that's the type of stuff we listen to. So.
Stin, why don't you start off this one? So Wicked Puppet Dance is the next one.
Yeah, so this is the actual oldest seed of an idea for the album. So we were like trying to make this work for Remove Your Skin, and we couldn't quite figure it out. I always reveal the working titles. The working title for this one was Zenigiva. Because
awesome band.
Love Zenigiva.
Yeah.
Because it kind of
times KK no, it was like no. No. And I was like, all right. Fair.
Yeah, Freedom Bondage is a fucking awesome record. Like that's very, very big one for me. But yeah, continue.
Talk about like something that's like in my DNA, like the song "Dead Sun Rising" by Zenigiva. There's something that song, man. It haunts me that how genius and brilliant it is. And in a weird way, I would almost say it's a kind of an influence on like the way we do arrangements in Chat Pile, maybe subtly, I don't know. But anyway, when the kind of like flow of the original conception of the song kind of sounded like that track.
Okay.
And so we called it Zenigiva forever, and it sounded very different than it does now. And then I don't know how we unlocked it, but honestly, it's the most simple song on the album. It has 2 riffs in it, and then the tempo changes on one of them, and that's it. So honestly, it might be my low-key favorite song on the album.
Interesting. Raygun, you want to hit it next?
Yeah, I think, like Austin or Stin, excuse me. Stin said,
we'll get our top editors on that.
Yeah. It is the easiest. I think it's the first song I did vocals for on the album.
Yeah,
because it is some of the music, like the fellow said, like, and I don't not listen to metal or have no idea what metal is, or you know what I mean. But I don't listen to it all the time like they do. You know what I mean? So sometimes I hear these songs if I'm not figuring out my vocals while they're playing and they're just handed to me, as is the case for a lot of God's Country. Sometimes I had to ask Stin where he believed the verse began, you know, and so I could kind of find my footing.
Reference.
Yeah. But this one I didn't have too big of an issue with. And that whisper part, that was like the first take, I think, because we tried to do it again and we could never get it as good as that. So that's just like kind of the the first time I did that in the studio, and it just kind of fit and worked. But yeah, that song, I like that song too. It's good. That's the only one that has like the boo, like that kind of stuff at the end.
There's a little Cookie Monster in there, yeah.
Oh, you can hear my dog at the end too. That little sample.
That's right.
That's my dog's leash or whatever. Yeah.
Just jangling.
Yeah.
Nice. Captain Ron.
So yeah, this one is, I feel like, kind of more of our highest or Queens of the Stone Age kind of thing. But yeah, to me, it reminds me of like something off of Rated R, you know.
Okay.
Like is it No One Knows? I think it has a little drum solo in it, but I feel the inspiration for that little part anyway. For that, yeah, that's about it.
They don't have to be novellas, my guy. Luther.
Yeah, like Stin said, yeah, when we started it was a little more. I wasn't doing like as spacey or noisy of a thing, but then as time went on, it kind of just turned into that, and it is like weirdly our most simple song in that it's only 2 parts, but also it is in 5/4 and it switches in the chorus to 6, I think. So it's just like, or to 4. So it's just I don't know. It's still like, it's simple, but because of that, it actually turns out to, I don't want to say to be one of the hardest to play, but it's just like, there's no place to really fuck up during it that's not noticeable. So like,
yeah, if you fuck that one up, dude, it's like dominoes falling, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, that was one that definitely, it was the first one we recorded, and when I heard Ray's vocal takes and like that middle part where he does like the whisper of a wicked puppet, I was just like, man, fuck yeah, this rocks. It weirdly, I mean, of an album full of dark lyrics, some of the darkest lyrics probably on the whole record on there.
Some of the most personal to real life.
Oh yeah, the lyrics. It's probably my favorite song lyrically for sure.
Same. Dude, tried to fuck me, called me a liar, so I shot him in the head, set the house on fire. That is my favorite lyric in the entire album for me.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not to cut you off, Luther, but we're forgetting a major fun fact about this song.
I served under major fun fact. Okay, but
you're in the service.
It's in drop G.
Oh yeah, it's in drop G. That's right. It's our only song. It's because on the EPs and stuff, there's like a mix of drop A stuff and just like standard baritone tuning. And yeah, that is the one that we go all the way to drop G, baby, for one song. My tuner can't really pick it up, so I have to do it by ear.
You have to find an organ and like literally.
Yeah.
Gee, what? So, all right, what gauge strings do you play? I know this isn't like Guitar Player Magazine.
Before I was playing 14s. When I was playing the PV.
14s.
Yeah. So the Ernie Ball baritone.
Christ, my dude.
Yeah. So on the PV, I mean, on a normal scale guitar, like to play that low. I mean, you can get away with smaller strings, but I just didn't like how floppy it was.
It would be like so floppy you could barely.
Yeah, so I had to do 14s, which is like playing a cheese grater for sure. Like it really. And again, the T60, it's a great guitar. I love how it sounds. Yeah. It also is just so heavy. It's like the thing's like 15 pounds, and then it has these 14 gauge strings on it. So I'm just like strapping this fucking weapon on me every time we play. But I'm playing with a baritone guitar now. I bought a baritone and so since that has a 2-inch longer neck, I'm actually playing with 12s on it now. I'm just playing with some Ernie Mammoth Slinkies.
Hey, practically Billy Gibbons over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is funny because it's like I've just been like, wearing this like training armor this whole time. And now it's like I've moved down to 12s, which are still pretty thick, I would say, to most people. And I'm just like, whoa, these are like fucking playing nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I moved from 12s to 11s just because at the time it was impossible to find them in music stores that weren't major cities. Because people are like, "Oh, do you play jazz?" No, I do not play jazz. Thank you. But see, how much without the commentary? Thank you.
Yeah, now I mean, not trying to do a Ernie Ball plug, but I just get the Mammoth ones. Those work pretty well. Those are 12s. But
Ernie Ball wants to send us strings, dude.
Fuck, I'm playing a Music Man guitar too. Ernie Ball, if you're out there,
hit him up.
I'm playing with one on stage, and we use the strings. So
the Ernie Baller over there.
But I do love this one. I think Wicked Puppet is super fun to play, even though it is very dark. But it's also probably the highest energy song maybe of our whole catalog. I mean, not maybe, it is. I think it's our fastest song, at least.
We have never played it live.
Yeah, we still haven't played it live. Mainly because we haven't, with life stuff going on, we just haven't really had a chance to practice that all at once. And we need to practice it all together before playing that one live, I'd say.
Yeah.
And we also have an actual Wicked Puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone made the Wicked Puppet for us, which is...
Really?
Yeah, it's in the video for it. But
Spirit Ditch Toy Company made the Wicked Puppet. That's in the video and stuff.
Yeah, they also made some little one-off toys for us back in the day as well, or back in the day, a few years ago.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, in the before times. Because I think that was maybe.
It seems like it was 30 years ago. So not 3 years ago.
But that's and that's not the next one's the end of side A. So I thought that was the end of side A, but no.
Anywhere. So Ron, why don't you kick this one off?
Working title of that one still Stin's Thunder. Was U2 out of all things.
Really?
But it's kind of, I mean, I feel like it's kind of more of like our Sonic Youth kind of jam, definitely more of that alternative rock kind of thing, and we actually have like a true jam at the end of it, so it's pretty fun to play. I like it.
Ray?
Yeah, I like that song too. That's more of there's a couple songs we have where I could kind of chill, and that's one of them. I like it a lot. I think lyrically, that's one of my better songs, possibly, or maybe what I'm more proud of on the record. I hate guns. I think people that have them are cowards. So that's what that song's about. You're just gonna ruin somebody's life, your own and everyone else's. You're a fucking coward if you have a gun. Anyway.
Pretty ambiguous statement, but
yeah.
Stin, why don't you go next?
Yeah. So as Ron mentioned, the working title was called U2 because I deliberately wanted to have a poppy, traditional kind of alt-rocky type song on the album. So that was what I was calling the demo to Raygun's annoyance, because it doesn't sound like U2 at all. But the idea was, we have all these like ass-beating riffs and stuff. I did want to kind of venture into, more
name of love.
yeah, I mean, yeah, a little bit, nothing like too like absurdly like noticeably sell out, or that's not like, but wasn't the idea behind it. Thank you, Tricia. Yeah, I mean, again, like Sonic Youth, I think was definitely more like the actual template for what we were going for with that. The other thing with this song too is originally we didn't have the big lead part in it, and that came kind of later. And so there's technically 2 guitar parts in there, so we have to fudge it a little bit live. Like we just go with the lead part instead of having like the real heavy, chunky rhythm part that's in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it. It's honestly, it's one of my more favorite songs on the album.
Well, that's difference between recorded and playing live too, right? It doesn't have to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Luther.
Yeah. This one, I really like it. It was the one that there's always like one song on anything that we do, and I'm sure, the others can attest it. I'm like probably the pickiest about everything that we do. Like I always have like something is wrong, or like I don't think this is good, or something like that. So for some reason that was the song where it's like, man, I just don't know if anyone's gonna like this one or anything like that, which turned out to be wrong, because for other than people talking about Why a lot, I feel like a lot of people have really liked Anywhere specifically. It has been kind of a standout for people. I think the chorus of it has the most like spots for people to know the lyrics and like actually say them along. Like I'm excited to play in October or in September these shows after people like kind of know this stuff more, because I feel like that's one that we could get some crowd participation in, and we love shit like that. So but yeah, it was definitely one that I, at the time, it's not like I thought it was bad or anything, it's just that I just didn't know. It's like, oh, is this going to be like too melodic or like too far, different? But I mean, it still sounds like a Chat Pile song at the end of the day, and
it doesn't actually sound like U2.
Yeah, no, it doesn't,
and it never did.
But yeah, I really
saw Ray with those big bug glasses.
I'm a huge U2 fan. Don't get us wrong.
Don't get it twisted.
But yeah, that's why I take it offense, because it did not. We're besmirching the name. But yeah, I really like that. The kind of the middle part of the song with that kind of like where it kind of drops out and gets super dreamy, and then as Ron said, the only song that we really do that has an extended instrumental kind of jam, like the end of it, which I really like. I really like how the end of that song turned out. It's I think it's pretty, again, it's fun to play live. So
I weirdly enough have heard more than one person, like, because we get new metal like comparisons all the time and stuff, which is totally fine. But for some reason they picked that song out. I'm like, are you smoking?
Yeah, I know.
They're like way like there are 2 songs on this album that definitely deliberately have like new metal-y parts in it, and it's not that song. So.
Maybe we just can't escape it. It's in our DNA. We just simply.
I'm just serious. Like, what part of that song has any new metal-y kind of thing in it? I don't get it,
Well, when there's super low tunings, there's a certain contingent of people that are always going to say that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, if you had harmony vocals, then it would say Alice in Chains. But
yeah, there we go. I mean, that's in there somewhere. The inspo for that,
So next up, we got Tropical Beaches Inc. Ray, why don't you start this off?
This song is about Don Lepre. You remember that guy? He's on the beach late at night. You'd be watching TV. Infomercial would pop up, and this guy on the beach is like, "You want to know how I made my fortune?
Oh, that
by
guy.
putting tiny classified at whatever." And I just wanted to write a song about that guy because I don't know. Then I was like, what happened to that guy? I looked up on his Wikipedia. I was like, oh, he killed himself. And it just kind of stuck in my head a little bit. I don't know. It just seemed kind of like a version of the American dream that was worthy of a song. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that's what that song's about. I like it. That song is fun to play.
Noise metal.
Noise metal is greater than. Good.
Noise pretty good.
Yeah, I like that.
Luther, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about new metal? I mean, this has got to be.
I don't. To be clear.
Yeah.
Well, too bad.
Yeah, strap in. You got Chat Pile on the show. I got a Deftones tattoo on my leg.
My favorite comment when I posted up last week announcing the show was, what percentage of the show is taken up by them talking about new metal? I was like, well, it hasn't happened yet, so anywhere between 0 to 100%.
Yeah.
That was extemporaneous.
We're stepping into it now.
I take off my hat and I have Wayne Static hair.
Yeah, you look like Paul from Tekken. It's just like this tall.
Wow. That's a deep cut. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, this one definitely has, some of the most obvious kind of Korn influence, I would say. I love this one. Probably my second favorite song on the record, behind Pamela. Really fun to play live. It's definitely one that even when we were kind of playing some of these new songs early, people responded to. I mean, it has a lot of energy and momentum to it, and the get the fuck up at the end and stuff, like all that. Just kind of, I feel like it's a good song for the crowd, and I really like playing it. I love the kind of spacey break. We don't do a second verse on that song, so it's like verse, chorus, and then this weird kind of spacey bridge as a second verse going in the chorus. So really only one verse in that song, kind of. But yeah, it's just a really fun one to play. It kind of started with that first riff that starts the song, and this is the beginning of side B. So you turn it over, hear that the working title was called The Circle, actually, which wasn't based on a band name. Like most of our stuff, working titles are usually just like a band that it kind of reminds us of, but it was just because that triplet riff is
kind of a circular riff, very
circular riff, and then playing that over what Ron and Stin are doing. That was just kind of the working title for it, and that starting riff is kind of like the initial kernel of it as well. But yeah, I love that one. Really fun to play, and about a topic that I don't think anyone else is going to write a song about. Don LaPree and Tropical Beaches Incorporated and new strategies and all that stuff.
Did not have that on my bingo card.
Yeah, I mean, I think it fits though for sure, because I mean, part of we've kind of talked about growing up in Oklahoma. A lot of what everyone does, listen to the radio, watch TV. There's not much. There wasn't much to do, so anything that's about like, this is very nostalgic for me. It's something that just reminds me of growing up, watching shitty infomercials on at 1 a.m. on TV.
I feel that. Ron.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I have a whole lot to add, but it's a lot of fun to play. I mean, other than that, I don't really know. Right? I think everyone else kind of covered it. So.
Stin?
Well, I'm gonna double down with everyone and say it's easily the most fun song to play, and for me, it's because I get to live out my David Sims fantasies and then my Fieldy fantasies all in one song. So, like, and I do feel like it's the perfect melding of that, and then that riff at the end is just such a like dumb ass beater, like mosh riff. Yeah. I mean, like to me, like it's funny when kind of the kernel of this band started with me and Luther, like. We talked about mosh riffs constantly, and there's kind of more of that stuff in the EPs, but I love the moshy stuff in this song so much. I kind of want new material to follow suit.
Be like that last part.
Into the mosh
riff EP?
Yes.
Have like all mosh riffs?
Yes. At least more than what this album has. Not that, there's anything wrong with this album, but that's just where my heart is right now,
Yeah.
His heart's with the mosh, folks.
It is.
More among the living.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get caught in a mosh.
Mosh fire. Stin, why don't you start us off here? The Mask, as opposed to Mask.
The Mask is actually something that Luther brought. Like most of that track, almost all of it is his riffs, and it was. I would say it was the most fully formed song.
Yeah,
on the table.
Yeah,
when we did it, and I think the things that develop the most, like kind of in the jamming process with it, are like the sort of blast beat parts and the sort of haunted house guitar lines that are like on that part.
Yeah, the echoey kind of. Yeah.
So that kind of came out more in the jam, but the basic structure of it, really, Luther brought that one to the table, and Ray can elaborate more, but I think the joke was that we were deliberately trying to confuse people about song titles, and that there may be more future songs with the word mask in them coming.
You don't guess it. It's like a when you put a camouflage a blind. The mask is your camouflage blind. Yeah. Your creative invention's opaque.
It's also just such a great movie,
Exactly. With the
modern classic,
right? Yeah.
Eric Stoltz.
Yeah. That's the Eric Stoltz movie.
The irony too of that is like I'm the world's worst at knowing like song titles for bands that I love. So here we are making it even harder for people than it is. Like, I mean, there are bands I've been listening to my whole life. I could not tell you the track listing on the album, because I just don't know the names of shit. But yeah.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, you're right.
I blame Tim Carrey's The Mask, ushered in the '90s swing revival, says Stevie.
Yeah. That's a big part of it.
That's pretty astute.
That's before Swingers, right? I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey. J'accuse. Ron, you want to go next?
Yeah, once again, I don't know that I really have too much to say about this one. I mean, our good friend James Cooper wrote a novel based off of an event that took place here in Oklahoma, like in the 70s. And that's kind of what it's, based around, that particular event. But other than that, that's about it for me.
Luther?
This one, I kind of just demo. We don't typically bring a ton of prepared stuff. Like sometimes, Stin or myself will come up with a riff or maybe like demo something a little bit, but not get too in the weeds with that. Like we don't ever really bring fully formed songs, but that was one that just during the peak pandemic, like full lockdown of summer 2020, I was like recording some covers and stuff at my house. Like I don't have a good recording setup at home. I'm like literally the Yeti mic that I'm speaking into right now is what I used, but demoed basically the two main riffs for that, the verse and the chorus kind of thing, and just kind of presented it as something that could be a chat pile song. And that was one that was, again, I was kind of like maybe the least I don't want to say like because I like the song, but I just I don't know, I wasn't as confident in it, I guess. But it's been another one of those things, kind of like with Anywhere, where I've seen a lot of people like they really like that one. So it's just, I think my instincts are just always wrong on what people are going to like and dislike. But I do think, the kind of spacey blast beat part is what kind of makes that song, because it does have like, that might be our most traditional noise rock song on the record, of like kind of that AMRAP style stuff with the first couple riffs on it. But I think once we get into like the blasty, spacey stuff, it just like, I don't know, it becomes a little bit more unique and more of a chat piley thing. Because I don't know, I like to toss in all the spacey riffs. That's between bands like Failure and Cave-In and stuff like that. Like that, those bands are big for me. So, or even stuff like Krallis or Gorguts or Artificial Brain, like kind of the spacier, techie death metal stuff that's been going on lately. Definitely kind of influenced that one a little bit, but it's a fun one. It's definitely one of the most, like, again, lyrically pretty rough song, you know. It's good. I don't know. I like it.
Well, speaking of lyrics, Ray, lay it on us.
Yeah, I mean that one. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know if we're gonna be playing it live too much. It's nothing on the boys, because I think the that's like one of my favorite musical moments on the album. I don't know. That's just kind of a dark. I don't know. It's a good song though. I like it. I agree with Luther, where I was a little less confident about it until the thing came out, and I was like, oh, at least people like it, I guess. So, you know, but it's a good. Oh, but the title, that's another thing I wanted to do on this album. I mentioned I wanted to have some topics I wanted to talk about, but I also wanted to include some just fun, annoying jokes. Just have some fun on it. And so, yeah, we're definitely going to be having, maybe inspired by a movie series that I don't like at all, The Purge. There may be a first mask coming down the pipeline. Who knows?
And then, yeah, the next one will have to be The Original Mask, just so it's fully impossible to talk about.
It'll be called The Original Mask.
You could also have masks.
Yeah. Masks. That rolls off the tongue so easily.
That's doubly annoying, yeah.
And then we did like an unplugged album called Unmasked, where it's just all the masks we've done over the years.
I will say, I forgot to mention that if you go on Spotify, and you know how, like, or I don't know if the other streaming services do that, but you can see, like, for certain songs they'll have like the lyrics up, and I guess the lyrics are correct for a lot of our stuff, but the lyrics for The Mask on God's Country on Spotify right now are the lyrics to Mask off of Remove Your Skin Please. It is not the correct lyrics if you are on Spotify listening to it.
If the mission was to be confusing, mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, you basically have a cloaking device for band at this point, like with that kind of stuff. It's like disinformation campaigns. Fair. I Don't Care If I Burn. Ray, why don't you start us off with that one? That's kind of low key.
Yeah, that song is an outtake from an album I made under the name Randy Rules called Playtime. I just couldn't work out to be on the record, and so I drastically rearranged it. When we were making the album, questions of anyone got a demo, show it to us or whatever, and so I submitted that, and then we just ended up doing it. Well, on our we did a score to a movie right before this, where we did some more like kind of noise, freeform noise songs, and this is kind of like a little taste of that, I guess. So I had a lot of fun doing the arrangement on this. It's just like I know I had like crushed beer can I was like rubbing on the floor, and like somebody had like some tape and shit. It was a lot of fun. I'll let everyone else talk about what they're doing on it.
Ron, you want to start off?
Yeah, so I think I was on tape for that one.
Played the tape.
Yeah, like Ray said, we did a score for a movie Tin Killer that had a lot of kind of more, atmospheric noise kind of stuff along those lines. But yeah, this is one that that Ray pretty much brought to the table fully kind of imagined, and then we just kind of did our thing on top of it. So,
Stin?
Yeah, so like Ray said, there was a demo for this one, and there was even some like talk about just putting his version of it straight on the album, because like that version of it's spooky and scary and all the things that are good about the one that's on the album as well. But we just decided to do it again, kind of whole cloth, but The funny thing is it was like one take. Like Ray sat down. I think he was on a drum throne, maybe. And I think you hear him stomping along. He said it's just one or two mics in a room, and then we did a take of Ron and Ray doing just kind of the tape and the crazy sounds, and that's it. That's all there is to it. So that one just came along super smooth and easy. Not a lot of fuss on it.
Luther?
Yeah, I don't have much more to add other than just that I like it in terms of sequencing as like it to me. Listening to the album, I think it works well as like a little breather, even though it's like, you know, scary and kind of horrifying to listen to. But it's just like it also I feel like really thematically goes with the next song with the closer, and I kind of view them as like one kind of thing almost, at least, you know, in my mind, at least when we were arranging it. But yeah, I don't think I was there for when you guys did most of the noise stuff, so I think this might be the one song that there's like I am not on it. I don't think. I mean, I might have been there, but I don't really.
I feel like you were.
I feel like you were.
Yeah, I feel like I was, but then I like, is that when we were doing the soundtrack?
No,
like, I feel like
this is definitely towards the end of like.
I remember like pushing a drill and stuff, and that's not on it. That's like on the soundtrack. So
that shit rocks. I can't wait for people to hear that stuff.
Yeah, I played a drill on a song.
Like Jackal with a Y.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dude, fuck like a beast. Sorry to step back a little bit. We did definitely like was said, we recorded like a full movie score, like I mean literally to the day up to where we started working on the album. So that stuff was like very much embedded in our brain when we were making the album, and that this is the track where that comes out the most for sure.
Yeah, it also is just kind of like a lullaby almost. Like I don't know. I really
it's our Frankie teardrop.
Pulls you into something, that's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's a cool one, and it's a nice little breather in between, because especially like like the whole second half of this record in general, I mean Ray and I have talked about this privately, but it feels darker than the first half.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially after like Beaches and then into the Mask, it's just like having that little
fun times over.
Yeah, like now we're getting to Grimace, which is like one of my favorite songs of ours, but is definitely like, you know, some of the most challenging stuff we've done probably.
Well, so why don't you take us out?
Well, yeah, that was
Grimace. So Grimace _smoking_weed.jpg.
Yeah,
that's right.
Which that started as that was our bio on Bandcamp before anyone, you know, and when we first started the band, it was a joke I think Ray thought of. Just there's like a hand-drawn Grimace smoking weed somewhere. I don't know if it's in the studio room or if it's in your. I think it might be in the room you're in right now, Stin.
This means I'll get ready for the
your blurry background might not let anyone see. Oh, you can see it a little bit, but yeah, that's the Grimace.
Hold on. This is where production comes in. All right. So this is the actual Grimace smoking weed. All right. That is everything I hoped it could possibly be.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just like, I don't know, it was just kind of like just a dumb joke that you know.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you should definitely highlight these comments that just showed up. By the way, real amazing. But yeah, it was. But at least instrumentally with this one, I remember there's a black metal band. Yeah, there's a black metal band called Ved One's End. They have an album called Written. I'm also probably not pronouncing that right. They have an album called Written in Waters, which is like an awesome avant-garde black metal album, one of my favorites. But I remember I like wrote the riff initially. That was like I was trying to do kind of my take on that black metal band, and then I like had a filler riff that was kind of like the da 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 da, and I was like, oh, I'll just put that at the end. And I remember like showing the stuff to Stin, and like him being more like actually kind of like that like heavy riff because we don't need like the Ved One's End thing that I brought, like that's not on the song at all, like in any way. So that's just kind of another case of where like you kind of come with an idea that you think might be the main part of the song, and then it just doesn't even like show up in the song at all. But yeah, that one was definitely the hardest.
Smokes the porn button. That's honestly, that comment is just for us on this show. But
yeah, absolutely. The last I'll say on it, just because I'll leave, because there's a lot to talk about with this one, but it was definitely for me as the only one that does like instrumental overdubs, like so because we haven't really talked about it too much, but the way that we record, we self-record and we track live. So we play drums, guitar, and bass all at the same time, and then we play it like 1,000 times to try and find the take we like. We don't really do punch-ins on that stuff at all. So usually most of the song, most of what anyone's hearing on the record, at least like the bass instrumentals are like, single take stuff. And then I will do, a second guitar, a second channel guitar over it, or, a few different ones to kind of beef it up. And Ray will do vocals over it. That was like definitely the most challenging thing for me to record, was like the second guitar channel for the end of the song with like, we don't play to a metronome. So the tempos,
really easy to kind of lose the feel if you're on.
Yeah. So I literally did it. I'm sure, Ron and Stin remember, like I had like I was staring like so close at the computer to like look at the waveform so I could like see, and it was like super zoomed in, and like having to like, time it just right because there was just like no cues on that kind of like drum part. And that's like 4 minutes of that too. Like that's like the majority of the song is that outro. So like, it's I love it. It's a great song, but that definitely was like, wow. When we've been playing it, we have not been playing that end part. We've cut it off kind of before we get to the super long drone, just because it would just be a nightmare trying to play that live. Honestly,
it wouldn't be fun for anybody to watch either.
No, 4 minutes like of it, that dirge and Ray like,
like
having a
6
super
minutes.
bad time.
Yeah,
it is like, yeah.
So the actual song's like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it would just be a rough experience.
You'd be talking to Wilson at the end of it, right?
Yeah. We found a way to. We've been doing. If anyone's seen us live lately, if we play Grimace, like we've been doing a little thing to transition into a different song, but that I think actually works pretty well. But yeah, it was a fun one, and it was just the subject matter versus the song title. I think it's just
it's a wild dichotomy. Yeah,
it is, and I think it is very us in general. Like it I think it fits, and seeing articles like that, there's that Stereogum thing where like people were voted for like songs of the summer and stuff, and it was like Beyonce and Kate Bush, and then it said like Grimace _smoking_weed.jpg chat pile. It's just like that. It's just.
What a time to be alive.
We made adults write that into like people got paid to like talk about that. Like it's like I don't know, it's very funny to me. But I do love that song. I see why people talk about it and stuff. It's I think it turned out really good.
Ron, is that a fun one to play?
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely one of my favorites of ours. I think it kind of encompasses probably just about everything that we kind of bring to the table for the most part, like, the name obviously has like humor and stuff in it, and then lyrical content, of course, is as heavy as about any of the songs can get. And then musically, once again, just kind of, pretty heavy, straightforward, but like mechanical sounding. I don't know. It's a really cool song. I like it.
It's definitely I think it's got to be the ender, right? You couldn't possibly after that.
Could you imagine if it was like right in the middle though?
Make a bow or apologize or both. I don't know, like one or the other, right?
Yeah,
that would be leading more into our Melvin's side if we were to put it right in the middle of the album, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what the ending reminds me of, for sure.
But yeah, that was definitely like when we wrote it. There was not any discussion of, hey, where should this go sequencing wise. Like it was just very clearly the last song on the album.
That's the last song. Yeah.
Kind of the same with Slaughterhouses. With the drum intro, just felt like kind of clearly the first song. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a we're done here moment.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
Sure. That's like, no, we're done here. We're done now. Ray.
Yeah, I like that song too. That ending part, Stin, did we do that? We only did that once, right?
I believe actually we did 2. I made you do a second take, and there's kind of a blend of
the
best stuff. Yeah.
All right. I couldn't remember exactly how that went down.
We call that Stu Madge, aka Studio Magic.
Oh yeah,
but
and
he did. I mean, to Ray's credit, he ran through that emotional breakdown craziness all the way through, and then we hit stop, and then I'm like, "All right, you ready to do that again?"
Not really.
Yeah.
Go rest your heart from your chest and pull it out again.
And I mean, there's no shame in splicing, you know. I mean, anyone that's too precious about that, you forget. Clearly, I forgot if it was 2 takes, 1. You know what I mean? Yeah, that song is good though. I like the ending. We'll probably never do that live, thank God. But the beginning of the song, where it's a little more traditional, it's good. It is one of the darker songs that we have for sure. You know, but you got to go down that road sometimes, you know. So,
Stin, you want to take us out on this?
Yeah. So my 2 main thoughts on this song is, as far as the process on it, it is probably the most jammed as far as like the writing process on it goes. Like Luther said, we had kind of that main riff, but then everything else we just kind of worked our way through together. It's also the very first song written for the album, because we released a demo version of it as a flexi for the Flenser. So it kind of lit a little fire under our ass to start writing new songs, and that was the first thing that came out of it. So the version that's on that flexi is way shorter because literally the time constraints wouldn't even allow it to be.
It literally wouldn't fit on there.
Yeah,
it's like 6 minutes, I think, like maybe just over 6 on that one. You can like that demo's on like YouTube or whatever, you know, people can hear that if you didn't get the flexi of, if you want to hear a weird YouTube rip of a flexi disc, the highest quality music format.
Pure sound forever. Federation X did a budgie cover of Nude Disintegrating Parachutist Woman, and it's on a 7-inch, but you have to flip it over to hear the rest of the song. And I thought that's
funny.
Yeah, that was the biggest flex, because it's like, all right, cool. If you're like, I want to hear this budgie cover, you're in for the penny, in for a pound at that point.
Yeah. You got to get up and move, flip it over.
Yeah, like, all right, what do they do next? Okay.
The other thing I'll say about Grimace is that it has the most Korn riff on the entire album that I personally am so proud that we snuck into the album.
But it's post-chorus riff.
It's the post-chorus riff where it just goes do 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 do. I mean, that's full on first album Korn, like just nakedly. And every time we hit it, playing it live, I'm like, fuck yeah, we did this.
No, that is a super fun one to play. Like, you know, we've been saying we're not really going to play the end of that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, after you just announced that you're not going to
play. Yeah, we've been playing the song, though. It's just we only play like the first 3.5 minutes of it. But it is fun to play when we're doing that. And the second verse of that, I should have mentioned this during my turn, but the second verse of that is also just some, like, one of my favorite guitar riffs I've probably done. It's like kind of like in the mix, it's kind of hard to tell. There's some spaciness going on there, so it's kind of hard to tell what exactly is being played on guitar, but I know what's being played there and I like it. Yeah.
So there you go. So any other last thoughts on the record? Anything that we didn't cover? earlier. The fact that it's like third pressing now, right? If I remember right.
Or actually, just
Fourth?
fourth pressing.
God, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
fire my
crazy.
producer right now.
So I guess actually with that in mind, I guess thank you to everybody who has been like super over the top supportive of it. We never ever imagined people would be into it as much. It means a lot that it's like striking a chord with people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean we're just humbled, I guess. I don't know. I think we're still all in shock, honestly. So
Truly.
So thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
and thank you for talking. Even being interested in talking to us, and all the
pleasure,
all the contact you've had with us throughout the years and stuff. We appreciate it as well.
So, yes, people, chatpile, bandcamp.com, the Flenser, any other links people should be aware of?
Chatpile Band on Instagram is, we mainly kind of use Instagram as far as social media goes. Some, Chatpile Band on Twitter also. Yeah. But yeah, now flensing.com, chatpile.bandcamp.com. Buy other Flenser stuff too. There's a lot of really good stuff coming out. That Scarcity record that just came out is so awesome. If for fans of cool microtonal black metal,
if you like Glenn Branca and you like black metal, there is an album for you now.
Yeah,
it's a product for you.
Yes.
They'll be playing with us at our New York, like our little East Coast shows that we're doing coming up. That's kind of like their album release. Technically, I think it's their first show. Actually, is that first night?
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
that's
they're
so
pros
cool.
though. They've all been, they've been in different stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dudes, thank you ever so much. Excited to see whatever you have in store next. Excited to see you play whenever that happens to be. And stay safe out there.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And keep it rocking and keep the keyboard cats coming.
We'll find a way to put that on the second album. We'll have some keyboard cat featured.
This guy has been bothering me this whole time. Been hanging out.
Your camera's a little frozen.
Terrible time for you to be frozen. Yeah, you're sure.
You are smiling, and it is nice. You look like you're very intently listening and smiling.
Hey, I showed the cat. Now he's gone. So is gone.
Typical cat business.
Yeah.
Yep. Gentlemen, thanks so much. See you down the road.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
All right. There they go. The dudes of Chatpile. God's Country is the name of the record. Go get that. It's awesome, and it is a cool record. Let's hear something from it right now. This is gonna be let's do Pamela.
And you're still with me in the trees with the locusts buzzing, but I never can keep my eyes closed long enough. I know a mind of dreaming can bring you back, so I can't remember if I told you I loved you that morning. On the wake you called for your mother, and my heart broke into a million pieces. A kind of darkness you just never get used to. So I stare at the door. Waiting to die. 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 Wondering if all this pain I carry is strong enough to lift your body from the water and make you be alive again. I think stupid things like this all the time, but I would rather trade my life for yours if only the water could bargain. If only they had been watching. I can't turn back, only face forward, but I would rather trade my life for yours if only the water could bargain. If only they had been watching. I can't turn back, only face forward. Open my eyes now, task in front of me. And your voice is always calling, but I can't control the rage inside of me. I spill the blood till the world is done with me. I want you to know right now that I loved you. When your effort almost killed your mother, but something inside me propels me forward. The kind of rage you just never get used to. So I stare at the lake, biting my tongue, waiting to die, waiting to die, waiting to die, waiting to die, waiting to die. And everything that I touch is dead. Everything that I wanted is gone. Nothing before me now but pain. Nothing before me but pain. And your voice, of course. Someday I'll reach you. In my dreams I can reach you. So I stare at the lake, biding my time, waiting to die. 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 God, it's okay. Spill their blood! Spill their blood! And resurrect my son! Resurrect my son! Resurrect my son! Resurrect my son! Stare at the lake, biding my time, waiting to die, waiting to die.
All right. Well, there you go. That was Pamela by Chapile. That's off of God's Country. That's a great little record. You can find that on your better internets everywhere. Internuts. Chapile, God's Country, Chapilebandcamp.com, Funzer. Those guys are great. I like those dudes. Hope you guys enjoyed that. The name of this show is Conan Neutron's Protonic Reversal. Thank you very much for listening to it. This show airs Thursdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, on radionope.com. Also on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, when I feel like it. Archives of the show at ProtonicReversal.com. Always free, no ads, no sponsors, no kidding. But if you like the show and want to get episodes sooner, $1 a month at patreon.com/Protonic Reversal will achieve that goal. Maybe I'll put up a PayPal link eventually for people that don't want to do that.
Mr. and Mrs. America, all
Thanks, folks, for sharing the show around, liking, subscribing, posting a review. All that helps people find it. It's appreciated. Thanks for listening, watching, consuming the show, being involved with the show, being a part of a community. It's lovely. I don't take it lightly.
50,000 watts of power.
Bunch of cool stuff coming up. I think we're going to do another special. It's Brian Walsby, Tony Ash, Conan Neutron. Cheap Trick this time. We did AC/DC a while ago. So for the classic rock heads. There's a couple. I really want to announce something, but I'm not going to say it because I had to reschedule it 3 times. But there's 2 shows coming up that I think you'll be very excited about. So stay tuned. Take it easy. But stay safe out there.
Route 128, you're dark and lonely.
And check you later.
Got my radio on. Can you hear me now? 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 See in the radio. And that snare drum and that drum roll means we've got a winner. If you're the 5th caller, or any caller at all, welcome to my top 10. I'd like to thank our sponsor. But we haven't got a sponsor. Not if you were the last man on earth. She was prepared to prove it. This one goes out to a special girl. But there is no special girl. It's the end of radio. The last announcer plays the last record. The last what? Leaves the transmitter. Circles the globe in search of a listener. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Is it really broadcasting if there's no one there to receive? It's the end of radio. As we come to the close of our broadcast day, my radio. Can you hear me now? This is a test! If this had been a real emergency, hey, hey!